that we're going to discuss today. Having said so, middle management is a very crucial point, because middle management is where strategy comes alive. Yeah. So it is where big ideas are translated into daily decisions, and then people are also guided toward excellence in the middle management level of the organization. And that is where also results take shape. So today, we are stepping into an exciting space where we are going to explore how to lead not just with authority, but with vision. Also to lead with clarity, to lead with intentional influence, so that we're going to have today will evaluate us to the heart of effective organizational performance through looking at two things. That is strategic leadership, which is the ability to align teams and priorities to the big picture, and the delegation part of it, which is the art of empowering others to take ownership, act confidently, and deliver with excellence. So we are going to unpack what it looks like to lead with a purpose. We are also going to look at delegation with precision. We are also going to look at how to build a culture where people can grow, thrive, and contribute to the team and to the organization meaningfully. So without wasting much time, let's dive in and just reimagine our roles, not just as managers, but as strategic engines driving performance and growth in our different organizations. Let me start with a quote from one of the famous writers called John D. Rockefeller. And John D. says that good management consists of showing the average people how to do the work of senior people. That's a quote from John D. Rockefeller. It's talking about management, that it is the good management, the management that is appreciated is the one that we show the average people how to do the work of the senior or the superior people. So what does that mean? In the entire session, we are going to speak about strategic leadership and delegation. But before we dig deep into the session, research has constantly demonstrated that when clear goals are associated with the learning occurs more easily and rapidly. So with that in mind, let us review our goals for today. So by the end of this conversation, we will be able to learn how to balance strategy and execution. We will also be able to learn how to delegate with impact. We are also going to learn how about sustaining leadership influence. And finally, we will also have a discussion about decision making in dynamic environment. So let's kick in. Let us now take a moment to just zoom out from these topics. And we start with building strategy and execution. And every extraordinary organization that you admire today just didn't get there by accident. Yeah. So there was a powerful strategy, and more importantly, brilliant execution that was behind that strategy. So at the heart of that execution sits us, the middle managers. So we are the critical bridge between the big picture ambition and the day-to-day reality within the organization. So in this segment, we are going to explore what it truly means to translate organizational strategy into meaningful actions on the ground. So we will unpack how to connect daily decisions, team priorities, and resources allocation with the wider organization goals that ensures that what happens on the front line is not only productive but purpose driven. So together in this segment again, we'll discover how intentional alignment turns routine operations into momentum that builds consistency and unlocks long-term success. So let us dive into how you can become a strategic engine that powers real transformation. Uh, so there are middle managers in every field, whether you are in an accounting field, whether you are in manufacturing, whether you are in the production, there will always be a middle manager. So their major responsibility is to ensure that the business runs smoothly. They're the ones who also implement strategies from their superiors. And number three, they are responsible for motivating people to get results. So those are the three key responsibilities of the middle managers. Um, so in order to be an effective manager, it is very, very important to understand what management is and why management is so important. Management is not about telling people what to do. Yeah. Management is about coordinating and organizing the team based on the policies, goals, and objectives of the organization. So part of the management is choosing how the business should run and directing the people. So based on those decisions, managers need to be effective and efficient. Efficiency involves doing things correctly. To be effective means being task oriented. So this basically means that managers develop strategies to reach goals and they use job descriptions to define how work is defined. Apart from that, they also consistently evaluate and look for ways to improve the current methods. And being efficient also means that middle managers also strive to keep the present system running. They also adhere strictly to job requirements and they avoid anything that might go wrong, and they monitor work and progress and procedures on a daily basis. So that is what it means by being efficient. Um, but as we proceed, middle managers have also several obligations to both the senior managers and their employees. That job, we'll all agree that the job of being a middle manager is not easy, and it requires a lot of juggling from many different responsibilities. So each managerial role is different, but most managers share the same several key responsibilities as listed in the slide. Number one, they make sure that the business meets the goals, visions, and the objectives. Number two, they supervise and they are responsible for the performance of the team members. Number three, they train and develop employees. Number four, they identify problems and come up with solutions. Number five, which is the last responsibility, they share responsibility for the growth and success of the organization. That is delegation. So successful managers are able to perform these roles by prioritizing tasks. So among the many responsibilities of the middle managers, these are the key. So there are many managers in the workforce. There are many managers in the workforce. Some are respected, but you'll find that others are despised. So what does it take to be a manager? Each manager is unique, but a successful manager will embody certain characteristics that we are going to discuss. So let us look at some of the characteristics of a middle manager. So the first one is integrity. So when we talk about integrity, what do I mean? So a successful manager is one who is trustworthy and will lead by example. That is for me, that is integrity. Number two, communication. As middle managers, you must be able to communicate effectively with both your senior managers and their employees, your employees. That is communication. Number three, analytic thinking. Managers need to think analytically to make decisions. So, because the decisions that a manager makes must always be right. And so before we make decisions, we need to think analytically. Yeah. And then number four, uh, focus and composure. So by this, what I mean is it is important that managers remain focused to the goals and objectives, and they must be composed at all times. So those are the four major characteristics that every manager, whether middle or senior, should embody. As we proceed, let's look at why does management matter. So middle managers are often what hold a company together. Most employees will never meet the CEO or other members of the senior management. It's very rare for employees to meet the CEO and other senior managers. The only people they will meet every day are the middle managers, because middle managers are the face of the organization to the employees. So they determine how a team functions and how successful the projects are. A bad manager will cost the organization money in form of hiring, turnover, and training. Strong managers are very, very important because they make sure that the employees are trained, the employees are staying within the organization. So it saves the money, I mean, the organization, the cost of hiring. Hiring is very, very costly because hiring, you'll even require training for the new hire. And also during the period of hiring, you'll find that there's a lot of activities, there are a lot of important key functional functions that is not happening during this time. And the company or the organization is losing a lot. So strong managers saves that cost for the businesses and the company. At this point, I mentioned at the beginning of this session that I'd like us to engage. I'd like us to engage during this conversation. And at this point, I just want us to use our chat box to engage and respond to the question that is on the slide. So let us check for your understanding. Please speak the correct choice and put it in the chat box. To the question, a manager should coordinate and organize based on what? Let me see. I can see. Correct. Correct. You still have time. You can. Good job, Washington. You can see a response from Milka, Shadrach, Sami, Joyce. Yeah. So far, everybody has the correct answer. So that means that we are understanding the session. So allow me to proceed, but you can still put your choices on the in the chat box if you want to. Let's proceed. Let's now look at setting expectations. So as middle managers, first thing first is your team needs to know. Your team need to know what you expect from them to succeed. So we want to walk through some steps for setting expectations so that we understand how we can bring in our teams together to achieve the organization goals and also the team goals. So these are the 4 steps. So the first one is defining the requirement, what is needed. Number 2 is to be able to identify the opportunities for improvement and growth. And then number 3, discuss the requirements. And then finally, put all that in writing. So the first step is to define the requirement of the chosen task. So in other words, what will success look like? You'll want to develop your own set of criteria first and then review it with the team to get their valuable ideas and input. So when you are identifying the departmental or your team's objectives, there are several questions that will help you get started. You will want to focus on 1H and the 5Ws that are on the slides. So how does the task or the objectives tie into the organizational goals? You'll also want to identify the key parts of those objectives. Why are you doing that, that objective, or why do you have that objective? Why are you doing that task? What steps will be involved? Who will the team need to talk to? When should the team report back? What should the end result look like? So every objective is tied to a task. And so when you are giving a task, if you are leading your team to a task, to do a task, those are several questions that you need to guide you to ensure that you achieve the results that you want. Let us again review a quote from a scholar by the name Lee Iacocca. And Lee says that management is nothing more than motivating people. There's a lot more into management than just motivating people. So we're going to look at the second part when you are setting objective, which is now identifying opportunities for improvement and growth. So the best expectations are those that encourage team members to grow and stretch beyond their limits. So when setting expectations, you should explore all the possibilities and share them with your team. Remember, I mentioned that management is nothing more than just motivating the people. Lee Iacocca told us that. Let's look at an example here. Let's say that you have some training tasks. As a middle manager, you have some training tasks that you love to delegate, but you are worried that the tasks would overwhelm anyone in your team. You know, after all, many people are uncomfortable speaking in public, and training involves speaking in public. But during your expectation meeting, one of your team members mentioned that she's interested in learning more about training. Remember, you have a task that you need to delegate, which is a training task. None is willing to take up the task, but you reflect back to your meeting, then you realize that, or you realize that one of your team members really showed interest that she was interested in learning about training. Now, this is the perfect opportunity to reduce your workload as a middle manager and help your team member develop her skills. So when you delegate this task to a team member who was already had interest in doing this, it will help them develop their skills in training, and you will also reduce your workload. So in the end, everyone wins. Yeah. So likewise, your team members may have hope and dreams, but may be unwilling to share them for fear of being rejected or for fear that they cannot meet their expectations. So what do you do? Your leadership and encouragement is very, very essential to help your team grow and develop. So what you need to do is encourage your team members to try new things. Yeah. And while you encourage them to try new things, provide them with the support that they need, yeah, to be able to meet those expectations. Um, Going back to what, just a few steps back to what we discussed about a task. When you delegate a task, or rather when you are giving a task, you need to discuss the requirements. So an action plan that gradually increases tasks and responsibilities is the discussion about the requirements for that particular task. So expectations can be verbal or written, depending on the situation. It can be verbal or written. For informal expectations, setting meetings for new simple tasks and verbal expectations can be employed. So remember, always use the 1H and the 5Ws during your discussions when you are discussing the requirements of any particular task. How, why, what, who, when, and what. So after you have discussed the requirement, the next step is putting the expectations in writing. So putting expectations in writing is never a bad idea. This will help you keep track these expectations, and will be able to be shared among the team members for reference. So whenever you are discussing expectations, you put them down, you put the objectives down in a document that can be shared with every team members for reference in future if they need to be. So it is never wrong to put expectations in writing. At this point, allow me again to call upon the audience to engage with me in this conversation by answering the question on the slide. So, leadership and encouragement are essential for, please again, take the correct choice and put it in the chat box. Leadership and encouragement are essential for, let me see the first person, correct, correct. Let me see more. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, again, we all the correct answers. I cheer for you. For those people who have responded with the correct answer, allow me to give you, to celebrate you. Yeah, that is very true. So leadership and encouragement are essential for employee development and growth. So if you wrote B, your answer is correct. Let us proceed. Again, let us meet this writer, Anthony Robbins. And Anthony Robbins says that setting goals is the first step in turning the invincible into the visible. That is very true. Goal setting is the single most important life skill that unfortunately most people never learn. Most people never learn to set goals properly. So goal setting can be used in every single areas of our lives, including even financial, lifestyle, our physical life, our personal development, relationship, name them all. Goal setting is very, very important skill in our life. So before helping others set goals, you should set your own goals using already there's established criteria for setting goals. I know I don't want to go deep into that, but we know that goals should be smart, that criteria. So before helping others set goals, you should set your goals using that kind of already established guideline. Your primary focus should be on goals that are in line with organizational strategies, strategic goals. Whenever you're helping your team members to set goals, all those goals must be aligned with the organizational strategic goals. Uh, so it is important to make sure that the goals unleash the power of the three P's. I came about this method, the three P's, and I was interested in knowing about it. And I felt that it will be appropriate to share with you as well. So it is very, very important to make sure that the goals that we develop with our teams unleash the power of the three P's. So number one, positive. Goals should be phrased positively. So they help you feel good about yourself and what you're trying to accomplish. Number two, goals should be personal. So whenever we are crafting our goals with our teams, we should always encourage them to use the word I in the statement to brand those goals like their own. So when goals are personal, they will be more motivated to succeed. Your team members will be more motivated to succeed. You yourself, you'll be more motivated to succeed. Number three, goals should be possible. When setting goals, be sure that you set what is possible and within your control. When you're setting goals with your team members, make sure that they set goals that are possible and are within their control. Let's now look at cascading goals. So once you have established your goals, you should have a meeting with each employee and help them set their goals as well. Ensure that their goals unleash the power of the three P's. One, it should be positive. Number two, it should be personal. And then number three, it should be possible. During the meeting, it is also good to ask your team members to come to the meeting prepared with some of the ideas of the organization that they have. Where is the organization heading to? What are the strategic goals of the organization? It is also important that they come prepared with the departmental the departmental goals. And it's also good to tell them to come prepared with their own personal goals that they want to achieve. So you should always be prepared with some goals that you like to see the employees work on when they come for this meeting. In that meeting, ask the employee to write down the final goals that you have decided on. Remember, when they are writing their goals, that should follow the PPE, the three P's that we have discussed. They should be personal, they should be positive, and they should be possible. Again, at this point, allow me to also ask for your engagement, just to check whether we are on the right track and we're understanding the conversation. Look at the question on the slide. Please pick the correct choice and put it in the chat box. What are the three P's of long-term goals? What are the three P's of long-term goals? Good job. I'm waiting for a few more so that everybody get a chance to engage and participate. Just to check for your understanding, what are the three P's of long-term goals? Good job, good job. Yeah, that's correct. Again, allow me to celebrate those who have responded with the correct answer. Yeah, so the correct choice is D. Yeah. The three P's of long-term goals: goals should be positive, goals should be personal, goals should be possible. Let us proceed to let us proceed to the next thing that we're going to discuss. That is delegating with impact. So the first part of that presentation was about strategy, getting people, your team members, in line with the organization goals. So it starts by setting their individual goals, setting departmental goals, which are all aligned to the organization's strategic goals. And as middle managers, we should always guide our teams to make sure that they set those goals that are positive, goals that are personal, goals that are possible. Let us deep dive into the second segment of this presentation, that is delegating with impact. So one of the greatest leadership superpowers is delegation. Yeah. So too often, delegation is mistaken for simply handing off tasks. But true high impact delegation is intentional. It is about knowing what to delegate and, more importantly, who to entrust with the responsibility. So let's explore how to decide which task create the most value when shared, and how to empower your team to own outcomes confidently. So when delegation is done well, it fuels the capability, it builds trust, and unlocks growth for both the individual and the organization. So we will look at the practical ways to structure delegation so your team feels supported, accountable, and inspired to deliver. Because when your people grow, your impact will multiply. So again, let us listen to what Colin Powell said. And Colin Powell said that endeavor succeeds or fail because of the people involved. Only by attracting the best people you will accomplish great deeds. So assigning individual work is just as important as what task you assign to them. And allowing employees to have a say in what task they perform and how they perform them can increase their job satisfaction. So let us look at several ways to assign work and explore which method is appropriate in which situation. Work assignments always fall into one of the three categories that you can see on the slide. It could be either orders and or requests or suggestions. So in assigning work, it can either fall in any of the three. So let's look at the first one, orders. So work that are assigned using the order approach leave no room for guesswork, and they typically match the dictatorial approach. So when should you use orders? Use orders during emergencies. This should only be used during emergencies. For example, you can say, Jane, shut off that tap. That's an order. You have assigned work, but you have used the order approach. Number two is request. So these types of assignments, they leave the employees with some room of interpretation. So these are the work description that you'll want to use most of the time. So for example, using the same example of shutting off the tap, if you were to request, you will say something like this: John, please turn off the tap. That is a request. The third one is suggestions. So for these types of assignments, they leave the most rooms for interpretations and should only be used if you don't care about how the work gets done or if you are assigning low priority tasks. For example, you could say, Susan, it will be nice if you turn off that tap. Yeah? You are suggesting the employer has a lot of room, yeah, to interpret, to deny, or to do the tasks. So when you are using this type of approach, yeah, remember, it will not, you are trying to show that you don't care how the work is done. You are just suggesting for the employer or for that particular person to do that task. This one is very risky for high priority tasks. Use only it is only used for low priority tasks. But let's look at them in details. Yeah, let us look at the three methods in details. The first one is the order, which takes the dictatorial approach. So the dictatorial approach or the order is the easiest short-term work assignment method. So it is simply assigning tasks to individuals. However, this generates the list of, this generates a list of job satisfactions. So this method should be used when a task needs to be completed urgently, or if it's a task that no one wants to take. So if you have given an assignment to your team members and no one is willing, then you can always use the order approach. But when you use that approach, make sure that you explain the importance of the task to the organization, to the department, and to the individual. The second one is the requests. Yeah, the request, which is also sometimes matched with the apple picking approach. So this one gives employees more freedom in choosing their task. So the basic idea is that the team member chooses a project that they would like to work on from a list of departmental tasks. So this is a good method to use when there is a small group of employees and not enough time for meetings. Then you can use the apple picking approach. So this method can also be used when the department has a list of low priority tasks and an employee needs a short-term project. And so when you are apple picking, make sure that the tasks are equal in value and workload so that it is equally distributed among the employees. The last one is the suggestion. So the suggestion normally takes the collaborative approach. So here the team has a meeting to decide who complete which tasks. The list of tasks is made visible and available to everyone. All team members help establish the objectives and the deadline for each task. And this kind of approach is most effective. It is most effective and it can work well with a mature team because it gives the team members a say in the way the work is distributed and give them also an opportunity to choose more meaningful tasks that will enable them, and yourself get more out of your employees and help them grow and develop. So this is a collaborative approach. The team has a meeting, the team members establish goals, and then it's also an effective one for the mature team, a team that has worked for 6 months and above. So they can always have a meeting and choose from the tasks. Again, at this point, let us check for our understanding. So there's a question on the slide. So among the three, under work assignment types, an order is, please pick the correct choice and put it in the chat box. Pick the correct answer and put it in the chat box. Thank you. See David, see Winnie, Esther. Thank you for your responses. Again, allow me to celebrate those with the correct answer. So yeah, majority has picked A for Apple, and that is correct. So under work assignments, order is matched to the dictatorial approach and leaves no room for guesswork. Let us proceed. So let's look at some of the degrees of delegation. So the previous presentation was just build up of the next, which will be degrees for, I mean, of delegation. So many supervisors sometimes feel that by giving tasks to others, they're giving their power away. Yeah, this is not true. This is not true because delegation is one of the most valuable skills that we will ever learn. So by delegating tasks that you don't really need to do, you free up some time for those very high reward projects and tasks. So you delegate what your team members can do, and then you focus on those high reward projects that you need to do as a middle manager. So let us look at the degrees of delegation and when to use each of them. So the first one, the first level of delegation is complete delegation. So in this type of delegation, the employee has the least independence, but you as the leader, you have the most control. So this level of delegation should be, it's not encouraged and should not be used often. But it can be used in some situations, such as this. Number one, the task is dangerous. Number two, the employee is not familiar with the task. Number three, the task has some important organizational, financial, or legal complications. So, and I'll use an example. If, for example, it's the end of the year, and if an employee is preparing a report, an end of the year report for the first time, you will probably want to supervise that process and carefully from the beginning to the end, and you make sure that you examine results from every step. So that is complete supervision. The second one is partial supervision. That is level 2. So for this level of delegation, it's a good balance. Yeah. Number one is a good balance between employee freedom and the manager's supervision. So the employee does the task on their own, but the manager monitors the work. The manager evaluates the progress and keeps a close eye on how things are moving along from end to end. So I've seen this is the most commonly used level of delegation, and it's the one that even us we use for most tasks. But as we use this kind of this level of delegation, we need also to try and encourage employees to grow and develop by adding more levels of complexity in those tasks as they become more comfortable with the current tasks. So for example, let's just go back to the end of year report. Let's say that you have been delegating a report, I mean report. Let's say that you have been delegating the weekly team status report to the most senior person in the team. So after to you, you can go ahead to type that report in your organizational templates. So the employee has done part of it, and then you have finished the process. So that is partial. So once the employee has become more comfortable with creating the report, the next step could be allow them to use the report templates by themselves. So they produce the report and then they write that report into the organization template. So this will allow you to cut one step for you and move the employee further along with the journey to independence. So that is partial supervision. Um, let's look at the last level of delegation. So the last level of delegation is the one that we should always hope to move towards for most tasks. Here, the employee does the task completely on their own. But as they does the work, the managers need to still do spot checks, need to look at the progress updates. So they will continue. The employee will continue doing the task, but the manager is monitoring the progress and also monitoring the updates and doing the spot checks. So let's look at, go back to the report writing. Let's say that the final step is to send that report. Yeah, the employer has written the report, they have used the organization template. So the final step is to send the report. So as a manager, what should you do? You should encourage the employee to send the report to the senior management with UCC'd so that you can read it and also know that the report has been submitted. Yeah. So that is now transferring all the responsibility and leading the team member to independence. So they're able to prepare a report, you write it in template and let's send it. So for you, just receive and then you read through it to just confirm that everything is okay. So to summarize the three levels of delegations, you need to think very carefully when choosing a level of delegation. Too low, and the employee may feel distrusted. Too high, and you may find that there's disaster everywhere. Yeah. So choose the best level of delegation as a middle manager. Again, at this point, allow me to engage you. So please write your answer to the chat box. There's a question on the slide. If a task has important financial implications, one should. Please put your answer in the chat box.
Hi, Steve. How are you? Hello. Hi, Steve. Jen, could you check with Steve because he seems he's not aware that he has a technical glitch. Yeah. But once again, thank you so much for joining us this wonderful morning and afternoon at this particular point. As we wait for Steve's connection to be resolved. So ours is basically to thank you so much for your patronage the whole of this year. Indeed, we've done quite an amazing job trying to learn within the workplace. I don't know. Jane, have you gotten hold of him? All right. Sorry. Truly apologies for that. Our team is just working to ensure that we get it sorted. Yes, as I was saying, my name is Peter. I'm part of the ACCUREX team. And indeed, we are really grateful for your patronage this whole year. It has been amazing Wednesdays, just connecting with each and every one of you, your teams, and just talking about workplace and and just trying to dissect on things that we can do to better our workplaces. And I believe that at this time we've really learned a lot, and there's indeed incredible take home points that I believe you've been able to implement even at your workplaces. If you are the leader, if you are a supervisor, if you are the manager, and even if you are the owner of the business, I believe these sessions have been quite insightful for you, and even for employees and students who have been joining us. I believe you are no longer the same as you came. Something that we are indeed grateful for, and we appreciate the effort, your participation, and even our team, that is the trainers, how they've been conducting the training. These are indeed things that really uplift our hearts. Now, with that, this is just again to remind you that these webinars have been brought to you by ACCUREX, and we'll be closing the month, or rather these webinars in the coming weeks. And we still have some exciting topics to close the year with. And we desire that you will be part of those webinars as well. Check us again on Wednesday, same time, same place. And if you are planning for, let's say, end the year party or even team building for your team, that's our space. That's what we do. We are a HR consulting company, and we do so many things other than the trainings that you can see here. We're able to custom make a training, and just to narrow it down to your organization. So just call us, get a code from us, get a training needs assessment from us. In the event you really don't know where to start and how to do it, we're able to do that. And for training needs assessment, I must say that's a free service from us. Whether you are ready to do a training now or in future, whether you'll contract us or someone else, just doing that training needs assessment is a free service for us. Then, of course, we have NDR, event management. We're able to do that. It's about that time when organizations are just trying to appreciate the employees for the splendid work that they've done all year long. We're able to make that moment memorable for your team. Just contact us. I'm sharing our contact details with us. So there is our contact details. If you can just drop us an email, just call us, or visit our offices at TRV Plaza along with the road, and we're able to even discuss more about what ideally you might benefit from us. Other than that, we are able to do labor sourcing, offshoring. We have people HRIS. Are you struggling to do doing manual payroll management and managing your employees? Just call us, and we're able to give you a solution that is an end-to-end solution that you're able to utilize in your organization. It's quite affordable, and we are able to give you a free package for a month, and be able to just get to see how the solution is working out. If you want to walk through the solution, contact us, and we're able to even do a demo for you, either virtual or physically. And with that, again, we are really grateful. I don't think we've been able to get hold of Steve. Jane, are you able to confirm that? Right. Yeah, yeah, but again, it's about time that we should be concluding anyway. And I believe has been an insightful session as well. And I believe that we're able to pick up a number of points on how to be great leaders and to manage our team with passion and with the zeal that we are required. And I believe this has been an incredible webinar. And thank you so much for joining us today. And until next time, just reach us. If you've not joined our online space, follow us on all social media platforms. Join our WhatsApp community. If you need a certificate for this particular webinar or any other webinar that you've attended and you are not in a position to get a certificate, just fill the feedback form that has been just shared on the chat box, and we are able to make it available for you. Again, on behalf of ACCUREX, we are indeed grateful, and we hope that you will have a wonderful day ahead. So let me see. Kindly share the link. Jane, maybe you can share that link again, especially for those who joined us much later. So, but anyway, that's it from me and from us at ACCUREX. We are really grateful. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your week. So long. Goodbye.